We're just a couple of minutes away from getting started, and we'll welcome you here tonight and ask that you stand and join me in the pledge, and then Colby Fulfer will bring the invocation. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Father, we thank you for this day and for all of your many blessings. And I pray that you would be with us over these next few moments as we make decisions that will affect people's lives in our city and ours as well. And, Father, I pray that you would bless the rest of the time that we have together in your son's name.
Amen. Thank you, Colby. All right. Again, welcome you to this regular meeting of the Springdale City Council. This is Tuesday, February 14th, Valentine's Day, 2017. And I'll ask our city clerk to call the roll.
Mayor Sprouse.
Here.
Rick Culver.
Here.
Jeff Watson, Mike Overton, Colby Fulfer.
Here.
Mike Lawson.
Here.
Rick Evans.
Here.
Jim Reed.
Here.
Kathy Jaycox. Here. Ernest Cate.
Here. All right, thank you. We're at item 4. This is the portion of each meeting that the council sets aside for comments from our residents. If we have any citizens that would like to come and address the council concerning something that's not already on tonight's agenda, you're welcome to come at this time. Please keep your comments brief and clearly state your name and address, and know that we won't act on anything tonight. Anyone? All right. Moving on to item 5, approval of minutes. Council, you've had an opportunity to look over those minutes. If there are no changes or additions, entertain a motion to approve them as presented.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Procedural motions, item 6. What's your pleasure, council?
Move for A and B. Second.
Okay, motion and a second for A and B. Denise?
Culver.
Yes.
Fulfer.
Yes.
Lawson.
Yes, ma'am.
Evans.
Yes, ma'am.
Reed.
Yes.
Jaycox.
Yes.
Carry 6-0.
Thank you. And we'll move right into item 7, Finance Committee report and recommendations. Chairman Jeff Watson, and Jeff isn't here. Yeah, if all right with the council, if Ernest just takes these?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. This item number 7, a resolution authorizing transfer of property located adjacent to 3304 Martin Drive to Joseph Lemansky. That item's been withdrawn, and we'll bring it back at such time as it needs to come back. It was discovered that there's actually a sewer line going through there. We need to address reserving utility easement if we transfer this property. So I've spoken with Mr. Lemansky, and he knows it's going to be.
Table it.
It just needs to be. It's just withdrawn at this time,
Okay.
We'll just bring it back if things get worked out.
and it'll come back to committee first.
Come back to committee. Okay. All right, item 8, Ordinance Committee report and recommendations. Chairman Mike Overton. Mike is not here tonight. Would someone like to take that?
I'll take
One that
it.
was here that night, Jim?
We did have a meeting, and this first one's an ordinance amending Chapter 22 of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Springdale, Arkansas, declaring an emergency for other purposes pertaining to water utility requirements for construction projects. And committee recommended approval. I believe that was brought to us by the Water Department, or by, no, yeah, go ahead.
In conjunction. Thank you, council. You may already have in your packets, I don't know, one quick amendment we had talked about with Ernest today. What it is basically an issue about the timing. As you recall, when we talked to you last Monday evening, the thought process was to move this requirement from before a building permit's issued to directly afterwards. And what we actually want to do today is actually go ahead and move it where it ties in for this temporary water inspection to be tied to the first plumbing inspection. It still takes care of the issues we're trying to address here, but it does make it yet even more efficient for our builders and our plumbers. We're making one trip for them, less cost, better for the homeowner in the end. Ernest, I think you have that language. I don't know if you had a chance to pass that out or share it.
Yeah, if you look in your packet, the ordinance as brought forward says that prior to any other inspections being performed, the suggested change would be that in conjunction with the first required plumbing inspection instead of any inspection, which makes it a little more specific.
Because you require that plumbing inspection as they're coming out of the ground.
That's
right?
what it would be, sir. It
Yeah.
would be like a plumbing under slab or like a rough-in.
I
or a
actually think
yard.
that's probably better. I really do. So
Yeah.
I would make a motion, we pass the ordinance as amended.
Second. Okay, we have a motion
Second.
and a second. Thank you, Kathy. Roll call, please. Oh, wait just a minute. I'm sorry. Anybody need to speak to this? About forgot. Okay, go ahead.
Wolfer,
Yes.
Lawson,
Yes, ma'am.
Evans.
Yes, ma'am.
Reed,
Yes.
Yes. Culver,
Yes.
Carries 6-0.
The merged clause be adopted.
second. Lawson,
Yes, ma'am.
Evans.
Yes, ma'am.
Reed,
Yes.
Cox.
Yes.
Culver,
Yes.
Wolfer,
Yes.
Mercy clause carries 6-0.
Got day.
The next one is an ordinance amending Chapter 82 of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Springdale, Arkansas, declaring an emergency for other purposes. This is pertaining to peddlers and solicitors. Committee recommended approval. Ernest, you want to
Yeah,
explain this one?
we had a discussion about this at committee. I know Ms. Jaycox wasn't there, but she actually brought this up, I think, at the end of the last council meeting. So we went back and took another look at it. We just want to make sure that we're going to be in compliance with the federal court decision that had to do with the panhandling. And we took a look at what Fayetteville did, and this is consistent with what Fayetteville did. It removes any references to solicitation, but it does govern where someone can be and walk or stand on certain streets, unless they're in a crosswalk or a trail crossing. It said it's consistent with what Fayetteville has done. There's going to be some places that this is not going to address, but the court opinion dictates that. So, but this will help, I think, a little bit with some of the issues that gives them a little more clarity, I think.
Have the police reviewed this, and did they have,
Yes.
sorry, Mike, I didn't see you over there. No, you're good. Because we talked about that, part of the issue was people couldn't walk in, if there was somebody soliciting a donation at a sign, they, in theory, if somebody was in a car and they wanted to give them money or something, that these people, in theory, were not able to walk into the street. I mean, it was complicated, in my opinion.
Well, this
This is actually,
doesn't specify why they're walking or standing into the street. It just says there's certain streets that you can't walk or stand in. It doesn't matter if it's whether soliciting or any other reason.
all right,
Public safety issue.
okay.
And it was recommended it pass, and I move the ordinance pass.
Second.
Okay, motion and a second. Any further comments or questions? Anyone? Denise?
Evans,
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Cox.
Yes.
Culver,
Yes.
Wolfer,
Yes.
Lawson,
Yes, ma'am.
Move the emergency clause pass.
Second.
Reed,
Yes.
Cox.
Yes.
Culver,
Yes.
Wolfer,
Yes.
Lawson,
Yes, ma'am.
Evans.
Yes, ma'am.
Ordinance emergency clause carries 6-0.
And the next ordinance is an ordinance amending section 110-86 Code of Ordinances of the City of Springdale, Arkansas, declaring an emergency and for other purposes. This is provisions and regulations pertaining to excavations. Committee recommended approval on this.
It came up, there are two things. One, the declared emergency needs to be removed from the title. I apologize. I took the emergency clause out but forgot to take it out of the title. The second thing, the committee wanted a provision put in regarding emergency situations. So we added a little language regarding cases of emergency, and I believe Public Works and we're okay with the suggested additions to address the committee's concerns about emergency.
We're okay with that. I'm going to go ahead and recommend this ordinance to pass the way as amended.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Further questions or discussion? Anyone?
I do have a,
Okay.
with the, whenever it says that the bond shall be forfeited, all or in part thereof for failure to comply with the rules of public safety, failure to close the opening within 24 hours, is the entity that's issuing the bond, they're not necessarily going to just pay that money because they don't have it within 24 hours, will they?
Which
Don't they
part of the ord-
usually do a little bit of an investigation before they? That's gonna be in the 110-86 permit requirements towards the end there. About 2/3 of the way down, it says the bond shall be forfeited or all in part thereof for failure to comply with the rules of public safety, failure to close the opening within 24 hours after the work has been completed. Wouldn't that be up to the insurance company to do a little bit of investigation on their part? I mean, I don't know that we can,
We can,
24 hours.
we can consider it to be forfeited and then they would have to do an investigation, but we would consider it to be forfeited at that point. Sam, I didn't know, am I stating that correctly? Forfeited language was already in there. We just changed it from saying as quickly as possible, which was kind of
Yeah.
vague, to within 24 hours.
Yeah, with the previous statement, as quickly as possible, how can you define that? And say somebody had a permit for an open cut, and they got all completed, say, at 5 o'clock on Friday, and decide, well, we'll just leave it open and come back Monday, at the inconvenience and danger to the driving public. Well, with it as quickly as possible, who's going to define that and say, you know, you violated the stipulation of the permit? Within 24 hours is a reasonable amount of time for anybody to close the trench after the work is complete. So if there was a situation where they refused to close it for whatever reason, and fill it with flowable fill as now required, then we would close it for them and document the cost to the taxpayer to perform that work and demand that they pay the city. Refusal to pay that cost would result in a claiming it from the bond to recover our costs. We're anticipating perhaps a learning curve for people who have been accustomed to making an open cut and filling it back up in Class 7 base rather than flowable fill. Because flowable fill, you have to do a little pre-planning, and it does cost more money. So that's why it's in there.
One of my thoughts on that is, you know, with construction the way it is here in Northwest Arkansas, there's guys that have projects in multiple cities that, you know, if they have a situation here, and you can correct me if I'm wrong on this, could they have done something incorrect and the inspector comes and says, no, you didn't do this properly, come back and fix it? They've only got 24 hours to do that according to this,
Well,
right?
if that's the case, then the work has not been complete.
Right. So,
Project's not-
Their 24 hours hadn't started.
okay.
Yep.
So I'm just wondering if 24 hours isn't, I agree whenever you say as quickly as possible, well, who knows what that's going to
Yeah.
be? But even if we gave them 48 hours or something, 24 seems pretty quick, especially if a guy that's on a job has another job in Farmington or Centerton or something, if he can't quite get back to do that quickly.
Oh,
Just,
yeah. I mean, we'd be glad to do it for them, but it's gonna cost them some money. But the way I look at this, if somebody thinks something's more important than, say, Centerton or Fayetteville or whatever, than what they're doing in our city, then I take objection to that attitude. If they're gonna open cut one of our streets, they should give due diligence to that until it's safe for the driving public to drive back over. So that's why we landed on 24 hours, anticipating some possible problems with the insistence of using flowable fill instead of Class 7 base.
And it, just so I'm clear, the clock on that 24 hours doesn't start until the inspections and everything. Really, all that's left, once that 24-hour clock starts, is for them to
Right. Let's
close
say
it back up.
James Smith went out there and inspected the activity in the open cut and said, okay, you're ready to put your flowable fill in, and then cap it off with a T-patch. And they say, well, we can't, I don't think we can get flowable fill or whatever. Whatever reason they fail to plan ahead to do that, and they just walk off and leave it, and maybe put a plate across it or something. And then that persists maybe for 3 or 4 days. We just can't allow that to happen. So the 24 hours seems reasonable to me. That's like 3 working days.
Okay, any other comments or questions? Got a motion, a second. Anyone in the audience need to address this? Okay,
Jaycox?
Yes.
Culver?
Yes.
Wolfer?
Yes.
Lawson?
Yes, ma'am.
Evans?
Yes, ma'am.
Reed?
Yes.
Carries 6-0.
And then the last ordinance in that section is an authorizing the mayor and city clerk to enter a development agreement with Walmart Real Estate Business Trust and improvements to 48th Street and Jennifer Terrace, and to waive competitive bidding and declaring an emergency. Committee recommended approval on that also. And that's for a right-hand turn lane coming out of the neighborhood market, I believe is what Walmart's gonna be doing.
right.
No cost to us, yeah, that's right.
Right.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion, a second. Further questions or discussion? Anyone? Okay, Denise?
Culver?
Yes.
Wolfer?
Yes.
Lawson?
Yes, ma'am.
Evans?
Yes, ma'am.
Reed?
Yes.
Jaycox?
Yes.
Go ahead and move to the emergency clause, pass on that.
Second.
Wolfer?
Yes.
Lawson?
Yes, ma'am.
Evans?
Yes, ma'am.
Reed?
Yes.
Cox?
Yes.
Culver?
Yes.
Both the ordinance emergency clause carries 6-0.
Okay, item 9, Street and CIP Committee Report and Recommendations. Chairman Rick Evans. Rick?
Had a meeting last week, Street CIP. We have one resolution on the agenda tonight, and it was recommended for approval. It's a resolution authorizing the purchase of property located in the Springdale Industrial Park 2, Phase 3, Springdale, Arkansas, for the Fire Department Training Center, Springdale Fire Department.
Move the resolution pass.
Second.
Okay, we've got a motion and a second. Any further comments or questions?
I did. In committee, you made a comment that we wanted to make sure that the O&A had in there about dedicating the right-of-way, and that was added.
Okay, thank you, Ernest. Okay,
And the city gets reimbursed whenever they redo the street on it, the $138,305.
yes. When we, at whatever point, we do the extension, I guess it'll be Monitor, from Ford to Monitor, to Emma. The Public Facilities Board in the contract has agreed to reimburse us, or contribute that amount of money to the project, to the road, and dedicate the right-of-way. Yeah, okay, good. Anyone else? Okay, Denise.
Lawson?
Yes, ma'am.
Evans?
Yes, ma'am.
Reed?
Yes.
Cox?
Yes.
Culver?
Yes.
Wolfer?
Yes.
Carries 6-0.
Okay. All right, item 10, Police and Fire Committee Report and Recommendations, and Chairman Rick Culver.
Yes, Mayor, we had a meeting last week of the Police and Fire Commission, and we have one resolution adopting a document known as the Risk Assessment Standards and Covered Document for the City of Springdale and the Springdale Fire Department. And if we have any questions, the chief is glad to come up and answer.
Gentlemen.
Move the resolution pass.
Second.
Okay, anything you want to say, Chief?
Go
You or
ahead.
Dustin?
No, thank you, Mayor and Council, and certainly I think you all know the process we're going through with accreditation, and this is just that step moving in that direction. This is looking at all the risks throughout the community and then trying to put our resources towards those risks. So that's what it's all about.
All right, thank you, guys. Anyone else? Okay, Denise?
Evans?
Yes, ma'am.
Reed?
Yes.
Cox?
Yes.
Culver?
Yes.
Wolfer?
Yes.
Lawson?
Yes, ma'am.
Carries 6-0.
Thank you.
All right, thank you all. Item 11, Personnel Committee Report and Recommendations. Chairperson Kathy Jaycox. Kathy?
I apologize. I was out of town, and I understand Jim Reed took it over for me, so I'm
Okay.
turning it over to him.
This is a resolution amending section 2.21 of the Personnel Procedures Manual of the City of Springdale, Arkansas, employee separation and out process. Committee recommended approval. Jeannie, do you want to talk to us about it?
This is just cleaning up our policy a little bit and taking out some language that really shouldn't be in there, stating that we will withhold an employee's final paycheck until they return all city property. By FLSA regulation, we really can't do that. So, and it's not our practice to do that anyway, so we're just taking that part out.
Move the resolution pass.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Are there any further questions or discussion? Anyone? Okay, Denise?
Reed. Jaycox.
Yes.
Culver.
Yes.
Wolfer.
Yes.
Lawson.
Yes, ma'am.
Evans.
Yes, ma'am.
Carries 6-0. The next three items, items 12A, 12B, and 12C, which was two resolutions dealing with request for a new taxi cab operator permit and a public hearing. We request that those be tabled to February 28th, the next meeting, so that we can make sure adequate notifications are sent out as required by the ordinance.
Motion to table.
Second.
All three of those items.
Yes.
All right, we have a motion and a second to table 12 A, B, and C for 2 weeks. Any other questions or comments? Okay, Denise?
Jaycox.
Yes.
Culver.
Yes.
Wolfer.
Yes.
Lawson.
Yes, ma'am.
Evans.
Yes, ma'am.
Reed.
Yes.
Carries 6-0.
Okay. Item 13.
This is an ordinance authorizing the city clerk to file a cleanup lien for the removal of overgrown brush and debris on property located within the city of Springdale, Washington County, Arkansas. And there's two properties. It is 3378 Bryan Street and 546 Yeager Road.
Move the ordinance pass.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Anyone need to speak to any of these in the audience? Okay, Denise?
Culver.
Yes.
Wolfer.
Yes.
Lawson.
Yes, ma'am.
Evans.
Yes, ma'am.
Reed.
Yes.
Yes. Second.
Wolfer.
Yes.
Lawson.
Yes, ma'am.
Evans.
Yes, ma'am.
Reed.
Yes.
Jaycox.
Yes.
Culver.
Yes.
Both the ordinance emergency clause carries 6-0.
Okay. Any comments from department heads?
At the February 2nd committee meeting, we had a discussion item on there, on the agenda to consider request by Harbor Meadows POA to consider doing something with the aesthetics of the bridges on Founders Drive, Founders Drive, I think that's what it is. And Jeff Watson made a recommendation that the council go look at those bridges, take a look at the bricks before we consider hiring a consulting engineer to tell us how we should proceed with that. So my question is, should I go ahead and put that on the next committee meeting with a recommendation and a report of our findings for a consulting engineer? Okay.
Weren't we going to see what the city's obligation was on
Thank
that?
you, Colby. I think
Yeah, that was part of it too. So why don't we just have it on the next
Okay.
committee meeting before we make any moves with a consultant
Okay.
and get direction. Hopefully, we'll be able to come to some agreement on some direction then.
All right, sounds
Okay.
great. Thank you.
Thanks, Sam.
Hello. Next Tuesday at 5:30, there will be a planning commission work session where we're going to be talking about the form-based codes. So everyone on council is invited to attend. Anyone in the public or media is invited to attend to this public meeting. So please see you tomorrow, next Tuesday at 5:30 at the multipurpose room upstairs.
Yeah, hopefully you all, many of you can make that. It's this is a very important set of codes that we need to get completed, and approved with, pending any changes that we may consider after the public meeting. And so it'd be real helpful helpful to you all if you could be there. So,
Mayor, could you also send notice out to, reminders to all of us, because there are a couple missing, and they may not be aware of it, if we can't get that out to them pretty quickly? Thanks,
we'll do
Melissa.
that. Okay, thank you. All right, any comments from council? City attorney? Nothing from me. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
We're adjourned. Thank you.